Hey, did your spring finals tickets are on sale?
No way, seriously?
For real.
Really cracked down.
The tickets are here! The tickets are here!
The tickets are here!
The tickets are here! The tickets are here! Did you get your tickets yet? The tickets are here! The tickets are here, Azale!
No, you already ran into
The
that.
tickets are here,
By
Jet!
the way, if you notice, Kobe's frightened face was not acting, was actually terrified. Because when we did this, Freak ran in and hit him with the mic, grabbing it, and Kobe's like, ah!
Even though he knew it was coming, because that was the second take,
It's
actually.
just how frightening.
Yeah,
you can be.
I'm good. You can know it's
You're
coming.
really
I'm
hyped for the tickets.
still,
Yeah.
I am hyped for the tickets.
Do you have tickets?
I do. Yeah, I booked. I mean, I booked my plane flights. I don't have my LCS tickets. I just think that gets handled. To be honest, because they just give me a
get
pass. You know, I just land, and then like in the morning, we're all shuttling to the venue.
Yeah, you invented
and we all get our all get our
just go
badges.
in.
Yeah. I mean, so you know, I'm allowed everywhere. Really, is what it comes down to. That's what it. You know,
Yep.
if I want to bully my way in, I'll do it.
Okay. Well, sure.
Yeah, I just want to point out as we continue the trend of pregame chat, because I think it's interesting.
Okay.
I thank Team Liquid, because they were in the lobby and 100 Thieves weren't yet. I think they're making Game 2 closer. And so Santorin was like, yeah, quick throw for you, no big deal. So I appreciate that, you know?
The like random mid-game throw has been a bit of a staple of TL this split.
Yeah.
We actually got to see it last game. They were 8,000 gold up and then got aced and gave away Baron. Of course, they then killed everyone on 100 Thieves a minute later and are up 2-0. But that's always a little bit on the cards. I do find it interesting. Like 100 Thieves was definitely, to me, like they were late to stage. I don't know the official things. I'm not in communication with the rest at all, but everyone on TL has been sitting down for like 4 minutes and 100 Thieves just filtered in.
Yeah.
So they definitely had some type of long conversation about what they're going to do next. It's
Yep.
super interesting to us that the loser of the game gets to pick sides, and 100 Thieves actually selected blue side, even though Team Liquid, as we now know, is
Over
like
90% win rate.
20-2 on, or 21-2 on blue side at this point in the split
Yeah.
right now. So 100 Thieves is having to throw out, I think, what they've done for a lot of the split in a desperation to pick up a game.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly not working. You know, my big question is, like, what is the answer? Do you ban out LeBlanc? Do you just ban out 3 champions that have really been problematic for you? Because they obviously banned TF Jinx from game 1. Yeah, that just makes sense. I mean, they just couldn't deal with it. Last game was the biggest mid gap I've seen in a long time, and it wasn't just the 1v1, it was the team play. Bjergsen created the opportunities for that team play to really hammer home the advantage, but that was an enormous lead. And 100 Thieves are just like, well, throw it all out from game 1. They're holding none of their bans. They have got to change everything. And Closer is not going to go to one of his bread and butter champions. He's going to take the J4 away. The prep is out the window, trying something new.
It's maybe even more just like how many things can we take away from Team Liquid? One thing about blue side is if you're willing to play anything, you do get a 4th ban, so to speak. It's the 4th champion that they really don't want Team Liquid to have. Santorin has played a ton of Jarvan so far in the playoffs, been very good at it. So I can understand that first pick by 100 Thieves.
I feel like you just go Nautilus here as TL. Like, that being available, it's such
Very
a good
Nautilus.
champion for core. It's a good pairing. I think it's by far the highest prio support. If you go Viego, Viego makes sense as a jungler, but like you're not taking anything away because the other team already has that. So if they don't go Nautilus, to me that says that they have an answer that they're happy to play into it.
Yeah, I think they're and it's interesting because Viego, Trundle, Volibear were all options for jungle. You could always, as you kind of talked about in the
But you
previous
can just
draft,
pick it on 3.
you can get one of the 3.
Okay.
I think this is they want an answer on this. They wanted something reactive on pick 3 instead of like pigeonholing themselves in. They want to make sure like, okay, we see the bot lane matchup or we see a mid lane
Don't get
spicy
clapped
pick.
in bot lane 2v2,
Yeah, so I think that's what it feels like. I like this. It's cool. It's very early game focus, right? Jarvan, early game jungler. Lucian Nami is incredibly lane abusive.
And 100 Thieves did actually, bring this out in their previous series, and it was very effective in that one. Expecting it to be, PTA, electrocute, super aggressive. So they're actually saving their support pick here. They're going for mid lane, so blinding the Rise, they can ban to protect it. Going to be able to play through sides. The movement on the map from Rise Volibear as well is so threatening, because you can Realm Warp to a side lane, ult in as Volibear, turn off the tower. It's one of the strongest mid jungles to actually move to a side lane and dive a tower, whether it's top or bot. So very interesting picks here from TL. It's a really different draft.
Yeah, it's kind of completely different if we're thinking about the kind of 2016 style mid lane with the block and freezing to set up ganks, whereas this is more of let's push and move and just demolish people in skirmishes. They're also just getting rid of the control mages for Abadage, which is what he had found success in with the Cloud9 series. And the one thing that I do like about what 100 Thieves is doing, at least, is by picking for early game, they are at least trying to have the same style as what beat Team Liquid in the previous round.
Right.
Right? Team Liquid got pushed to 5 games by Evil Geniuses in part of doing those early game picks. And there's a support counter pick if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, Soraka's actually really a strong laner, but it's basically completely dependent on, do you hit your Qs? Great, you're doing really well in lane. You don't? Well, it's going to look pretty rough. Nami can win it on those trades very heavily, so you have to make sure you're on point with those Qs. That's almost the entire laning phase is about how many of those can you hit. You scale really well into helping for side lane, so if you go to another Aatrox, I mean, it's just going to be Aatrox, right? That's his answer into Ornn. He's blinding Ornn. 100 Thieves, it feels like, are kind of out of picks in some ways. So it's going to be Aatrox 3 times in a row. Aatrox, also, the ulti amps the healing from Soraka, so healing is going to be really kind of double dipping here. Maybe for some reason they will move away from that, feeling like they're a little bit low on damage, perhaps. With the Rise, they're going to bring in the Graves instead. This is much less of, like, I would say, like a lane counter. Like, you get push, but I don't really see Graves doing that much to the Ornn past the early levels.
I kind of wonder if this is not so much a lane pick as it is he thinks Graves is going to be better against Lucian Nami than Aatrox would. Like, it's just going to be stronger in 5v5, and they're expecting so much. Like, they do, in a sense, have 2 tanks already with Rise and Volibear with the way the Rise built nowadays. I'm glad we're not seeing 3 Aatroxes in a row from
I am surprised, though.
I am surprised as well.
I wonder, it's also potentially something like you're over-indexing on healing when you have Soraka and Aatrox, and maybe thinks they're going to have too many healing debuffs and maybe kind of hurt that. But anytime Soraka's on a team, you're gonna have to build healing debuffs. It's so critical, especially ever since they made it so that the Wish, the ultimate, actually removes healing debuffs. You can't just rely on an ignite, because you ignite, you ult to remove it, and then you just spam W. So you have to have like a Morello or something to actually be able to constantly reapply those healing debuffs, or Soraka's gonna send her team to full HP over and over and over.
Well, it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Here we go. Game 3, is it enough? 100 Thieves in TL. Make or break. Welcome back for Game 3. Is it the TL 3-0 sweep? Or is it gonna be 100 Thieves fighting back and making it a reverse? We saw this bot lane in Game 3 of 100 Thieves was Cloud9, 12-1-6 for FBI. Yeah, I hit him with the retweet on that one.
That's a live evil right there.
Yeah.
They will be playing tomorrow for the final slot in finals weekend. Of course, the loser of this game will then play on the Saturday match next week, and the winner will be placed straight into the finals on Sunday. So that's what we're playing for. And will we see the level 1 fireworks that we thought we might see in Game 1?
Cheated up a bit much. Ward comes down. Yeah, gonna be fine.
Still tried something. This does leave them exposed, though, because FBI just scouted 5 people. So Closer, as you can see, was invading into Raptors, and I believe they placed a ward to give them a little bit of jungle information.
Yep, get that ward down there. But this is going to be interesting. Guardian, Spell Thieves, this is the setup that I prefer on Soraka. Unless it's like super hardcore all-in, like you're talking Draving, that type of thing, then maybe you go Relic Shield, but I do think you need the mana regen from Spell Thieves. But Guardian does help you to survive against these all-ins, and they're very concerned about it. You're playing Heal, which is going to get amped by some of Soraka's kit and items, and you put Barrier on Hansama, so very defensive summoner spells here, and I think you actually do need it because all the procs overlapping from Nami, you put the E onto the Lucian procs PTA, that also procs the Electrocute. The burst damage is incredible, especially post once you have that first item.
Well, they're going to scrap initially. Huhi going to have pretty good scrapping, of course, as well. They get the bounce, they get the first barrier down, and that means, or the first guardian down, I should say. Interesting, like, look at the bottom, summoner spell, Microcosm. Because ultimately, Soraka generally is meant to be your target, right? And Core's going to play pretty far up. Until FBI has 2, there's not really any threat on him, but like, you actually want to go for the Soraka. She doesn't have Cleanse, you have Ignite, she doesn't have Barrier, the heal's going to cut by half as well, and she can't self-heal with W. So like, you want to go for the Soraka anyway. I'm a little surprised there was a Barrier on Hans. And because Nami can heal, like, I don't think you can trade back on Lucian that easily.
I think the idea is just like, he's the one that has to step up to actually farm. So if you're going to play more defensively when J4 is on that side of the map, you play behind and you kind of protect yourself through the positioning. But nice early trading, they do get the push. And I'm going to be interested to see the skill order as well from Core, because a lot of Sorakas will actually just skip heal until fairly late in the game. So it is QE, but I'm just curious like, if he actually gets healed at 3 or if he waits till 4. I actually think it's more valuable to get multiple ranks in the queue early on and just forgo the heal unless you're really getting poked down and need it. Because the laning, it's just something that I think a lot of people overlook with Soraka, but if you're hitting those Qs, like you are really oppressive.
Yeah, if you land Q, the health delta is like 115 or something. If you W a teammate, the health delta is like 4, because you had to cost your own health to get it in the first place. So yeah, in terms of actually what you gain per skill point and per ability cast, Q is definitely far better. You have to land it, of course, but that's what's strong.
I also want to point out Santorin is pathing to a different side of the jungle this game. He's actually going towards bot lane because they knew it was going to be such a contested lane. Actually runs straight over Scuttlecrab just to get to this bot lane first. I don't know if he saw Jarvan, though. He's going to see him now.
He's him on the ward at the very least, so this is going to be a good 3-on-3. Santorin is going to be an easy target. Going to flash for the stun, and who he's going to die? First blood again. They trade him back, though, and that means they might find more. There's a red buff, but it's not going to find the next shot.
But look where the kills went. Nami on one side, Zeri on the other, and that was actually such good movement from Santorin. He pops his Q, he starts moving backwards, so he steps forward saying, all right, chase him down, instant turn and flash onto the Nami.
And premeditated, too. Because of the delay on the E, he had already casted the E as he was running away to catch him completely off guard. It's going to really hurt his jungle pathing. He's going to get double crabbed. He gave the, he lost his buffs. Closer now has a blue buff advantage, but it's just so huge for the Zeri Lucian matchup.
Well, and Bjergsen actually with mid lane push is defending the top crab, so it looks like he will be able to get that. You should see Bwipo continue to push top side. Yeah, Bjergsen is here, so he at least defends it. So that's very nicely done. From TL, just utilizing this top side to kind of be the push. It looks like they want to focus more towards bot. Call for Bwipo here early on. Just push in, farm it up, be relevant later on.
Yeah, we're going to watch this one more time. So definitely altering his path from previous games so that he can be in the bot lane. Closer actually passed bot to top and then back here. But then look at this. He cast the E.
Silence.
Boom. Straight into the stun lock. And Huhi doesn't have a chance. He sacrifices his life for it because Closer and FBI can actually return a lot of fire. But you have to say it's worth it.
And it wouldn't be that bad, 400 Thieves, if FBI got the kill, right? But that's the problem, is that the kill gold went to Nami, where it's just not really very relevant. An early mandate is nice, don't get me wrong. That is powerful, especially when you're going this electrocute kind of aggressive build. But it's just so much more valuable on Tansama, to be able to grab that early Sheen, gets the boots on top. Going to be feeling really good about his position.
And of course, the buffs go nowhere because the posthumous ignite just gives him nothing because your corpse can't hold the buffs. So yeah, really unlucky there, but just the way it went.
Something else to check in, though, is the fact that this is a very AD-heavy kind of composition from TL. As far as the damage, yes, there is Rise, yes, there is some magic damage from Volley, and it's split with Zeri, but really, Orange just needs the MR from his mythic item, and he just stacks armor, and he is going to be very difficult to deal with. Tank Rise is not that adept at actually knocking down frontliners, so that is something that they are going to have to worry about later on, especially, J4 plus the Ori, that's great engage. You have consistent damage on the Thunder Thief side, so their 5v5, which is kind of their bread and butter, is really good.
Yeah, and zooming out to what we saw in the series as Orange goes for the kill.
Has no ignite.
But he's one hit away from death. However, with flash up, he knows doesn't have grasp. Right? He went spellbook for the actual damage output available, not as high. Can't get it over the line.
This is the type of team comp that Hunter
he's so close to dead.
with. But TL is just pushing limits in lanes here.
Yeah, level 5 at everyone right now.
Again.
Sheen versus Noon Quiver. Closer knows. I don't believe Closer got spotted, so can maybe get a bait going here. Gonna land that slow again. Corjay landing a lot of this damage. Han's gonna go in for a bit more. Doesn't land the W. See if we can see him.
And now they spot Closer, so they have the edge here. Now they're gonna go towards Dragon, I think, and just start this Dragon up. They win 3v3s, I think, pretty hard. It's very difficult for Closer to engage into the Volibear here. And if you do step too far forward and you get stunned into a silence route, from the Soraka, it's so tough. And you can see that TL is just kind of defending this choke here, trying to keep them back, now turning onto the Dragon.
Bjergsen has just been defending that river entrance as well for so long. We could still see a fight,
though. It was close. Closer not able to get it, though. Realmore coming in from behind. They got the flank. They're going for the execution. The dive over. Hansama gets right back out, and who he's going to fall. 1-0. Team Liquid just better.
The fights are so close here, but it really does look like TL just has more of a plan. Right? It's not that Hunter Thieves doesn't have a plan. They clearly wanted to contest the Drake and got to flip the smite. That part was success, but as soon as that happened, TL pounces on them with the Realm War.
And every single time, it just feels like how big of a difference has Bjergsen been making? Game 1, the TF, he's everywhere. Game 2, the whole game felt like it was about mid lane control. Game 3, defending the top scuttle to be able to keep Volibear at parity, then having the early Realm War flank there is not a play that a lot of people would have gone for. Gets them the kill. He has just been so impactful for TL. 3 straight games. And again now, early objectives. They have a gold advantage. They are looking really, really strong.
Beers wants to kill the wave right now. Sees a control word to kill and says, sure, okay. I'll add that 30 gold as well to my pocket to keep the CS close.
Yeah, but going back to the team comps once again, 100 Thieves won the series against Cloud9 largely through team comps very similar to this. So Game 3, yes, was with the Nami. Other games are with engaged supports, but the bigger thing is strong frontline, good front-to-back team fighting. You have to say they're going to have a very strong 5v5 in this game against TL, whereas in the other games, the comps were kind of all over the place, right? Are we diving? Are we fighting? You weren't quite sure. This is definitely more cohesive for 100 Thieves, and I do appreciate them going back to what had worked previously with their backs against the wall.
Exactly. I mean, they know exactly what they want to do with this composition. It's very straightforward. You have 2 forms of engage here.
The knockup. He's got a flash to heal needed. Shockwave gonna land, and he's just not gonna take enough damage. Flash in for the root. He just waits for the setup, and it's not a flash safety in time, so both mid laners will die. However, Closer running low on health, smited for a slow. Doesn't have any way out. The shield buys a second. Is it gonna be enough? Santorin can't get in range. He's gonna get out. But there's the Ignite, the follow through to Sunday have it. Ignite still burning him. The flash W. Sunday puts on the lane kingdom.
Or solo kill someday, trying to bring them back here. It was a 1-for-1 trade, very aggressive mid lane, but that kill in the top lane turns the overall trade in the favor of 100 Thieves.
Absolutely, and that's so big for the mental aspect of this game. You're down 2 games, you need a boost. These plays going bad. Bjergsen had a good read on the damage here. You know, not even flashing the Shockwave. Feels like he can just sit through it here without a ton of early AP. He just early heals. Santorin arrives. He flashes into the root, into the stun, everything there. Abadaga gets burst down. They do trade the kill back. And Closer barely survives as he just got out of range of the E, I would assume was off camera. Just barely able to get out there. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's
same one as before. But yeah, Ignite available. You know, was able to put on that much pressure previously without the Spellbook Ignite. This time around has it. And Someday just playing this very well. That sidestep on the Q, flashes back in with the W, really well played.
And now we get to see the kind of payment as that comes in. Whippo on the way down. Bjergsen here. Volibear's still walking over though. If they burn this down fast, he'll take it with the red smite. And it's down to 2,400. Santorin's still not in range just yet, but reinforcements are coming. Down to 2K. You can still try to burn this one in time. The I+ fight will get it, and he gets it. But how about the rest? Because they got to run away. Whippo gets knocked up. The man's got no flash, he's got no ult, he's got no life, he's got no chance. And that should be the Herald I picked up as well. TL get a bit sloppy and lose 2 kills in a row plus the Herald.
Yeah, this is actually really good for 100 Thieves. You know, I do like their position in this game. I think that TL is going to have to play, you know, with an advantage. They have a harder to execute comp. They are much more early mid-game focused. You can play through sides later. With that rise to try to, you know, kind of open up the map a little bit here. But things looking a little bit tough for them after these last couple of kills going the way and the gold evening out a lot.
And it's kind of lining up, you don't say this that often, but the Ornn carry angle, because it's Graves, Volibear, Zeri. Zeri does a little bit of magic damage, so does Volibear, but it's a heavily AD team comp, and then a tank Ryze, who while has good sustain damage, isn't enough to cut through an Ornn. And the Frozen Heart Rush, I think, is absolutely correct. He's already solo killed Whippo. He's given them enough top priority to take over that Rift Herald. The gold is close, and the Ornn is the thing that's going to be winning or losing them the front-to-back team fights. So I think Someday stepping up in a huge way here in Game 3.
Yeah, as long as they can have the damage kind of to back it up. Of course, Orianna doing fine at 100 CS. Obviously, FBI a bit behind. Close going tank as well. And it's interesting because, yeah, certainly Hansama's ahead, right? Hansama's going to do more damage in most team fights than FBI. But will Hansama kill Jarvan or Ornn before a slightly behind FBI kills a Volibear? And that's probably FBI kills a Volibear faster.
Yeah, especially with the Orianna being added in. Orianna should be higher DPS, you know, in most of these fights than the Ryze. Of course, it does depend if you can get a lost splash off, but it's going to be interesting. I think for TL now, it just makes the Dragon that much more important, right? You want to be able to continue having this as a win condition, because I do think you have to be concerned about scaling in this game. So we'll see if they want to continue playing for this. TP is available for Bjergsen, and he's going to TP mid, try to get mid prow here with Whippo, and they're going to start up this Dragon. Somebody has his TP though, so if they actually want to answer,
So going down. Big secure.
They're not going to. They're going to try to look for a steal, I think, maybe, but no, they're just going to give it over. They're going to fight at third Dragon, I guess.
Yeah, 17 minutes and 22 minutes is going to be third and fourth Dragons, and I think Team Liquid really wants to accelerate these. Hextech Soul, incredibly powerful. It does look like they'll getting a little bit outscaled. So I think the fact that they got these 2 early dragons is what they really have to heavily prioritize now if they want to win.
And I think when you're playing this comp, that they're going to have to kind of kite back and forth with their composition, right?
Yeah.
You can't just like hard engage. You're going to have to utilize the marksman, kite back, use the Soraka for the slows. Having the slow from the Hextech Soul is actually really nice for double marksman to be able to disrupt them, trying to threaten a dive here, but Butcho had the read, and he was very back up.
Volibear and Rise. Rise is close. He can run up in.
Blast Cone, Vision not seen nowadays. The TP is going to come out to make it a little bit safer. Tidal Wave not going to land in the primary target, but the bubble's going to. That means Bjergsen can't get any damage across. Now Santorin on the way out could always hold if he needs to, and does so. You cannot shockwave through that. He's unstoppable during it, so always able to get out. Abadaga holds the cooldown.
Not bad, a little bit of pressure there. It's basically the trade of the TP for the Realm Warp and the Volibear ult. I think worthwhile for TL because they're going to be the first ones back towards mid lane again, but maybe a kill here.
Whippo gets exhausted. Spellbook on that one, going to get a bit more damage across. Q's going to land, but no more damage just yet. And Flash was down, so couldn't follow to get the brittle, but Whippo is not respecting the knock-up pillar.
I mean, with the current item landscape, Cull, a Dirk, and a Vamp Scepter versus Frozen Heart Bombies, the Ornn is actually just stronger 1v1.
Yeah.
Yes, he's playing the lane well, but Whippo, I actually liked what TL did before that last Dragon setup when Bjergsen's Rise was top lane, because Graves could not stand up to Someday at all right now.
Yeah, it's really tough, and he's not building for the 1v1, right? He's going lethality. It's more this kind of build that he did very early on in the year, and it's about him flashing on carries, being able to threaten that 100-0. He plays it hyper aggressive and had a ton of success with it. You should know because you see the Frozen Heart debuff on you. That's one of the things that it does actually give away if you're beside him in that brush. So if you are paying attention and someone has Frozen Heart, you can always know if they're in a brush just by actually checking that aura.
Yeah, ultimately safe enough. Those able to clear the wave and walk away. As Herald is going to be summoned for a bit of damage bottom lane. We did have a chance seeing it top to crash 2 plates. I think that might have been the better option, but I'm going to get to share in the turret getting low. Of course, won't earn any gold for this one. So small missed opportunity there, but damage to Hansama. Always able to dash out of range, though FBI not going all in. No ulti available. Might have changed the calculus there.
I want to see what TL thinks about doing next because they can't get side lane push with Graves against Ornn. I think that's something they were really banking on going into this game because if they could push multiple side lanes, then the Rise and the Volibear can go around and get numbers advantage fights. But if Team Liquid's not able to get the right wave situation so that they can have fights with numbers advantages, it's just an incredibly difficult game for them. So I actually think they're going to bleed a decent amount of gold here in between Dragons and have to actually win team fights against 100 Thieves because 100 Thieves is in a pretty comfortable position, all things considered, in this game.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's going to make the setup for these fights, very, very important. Can they actually get towards the back line? You can't fight through the Ornn. You have to be able to come from different angles, have the Graves come from behind, Realm Warp in, the Volibear, these types of plays if you are going to try to dive in. Or you have to straight up forget diving backline and just try to kite back, keep those frontliners slowed, everyone focus fire on this frontliner that is hopefully too far away from his team, and try to play it out that way. So it'll be really interesting to see what kind of approach they are going to take.
And Hansama could also just have a massive game, right? He hasn't died this series. He's had a couple quadra kills. He was 907 in the last game. He is 20 CS up on FBI right here, so there's always that possibility because thinking about the 100 Thieves team composition, even if he doesn't have the damage right now, it's also kind of difficult for 100 Thieves to lock the Zeri down.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of outplay potential for Hansama.
It's pretty much got to be, Jarvan ult in, Shockwave over top, Nami ult over top, everything getting layered in there. And if you catch him with the start, you can maybe catch him with the rest of it. 100 Thieves going to play towards the top side, though. They have Prio there. So it should be set up on the bottom side for TL for this Dragon, kind of traded for this. But you can use Herald to be able to crack one of these towers that you've gotten down a little bit low, or just drop it on Dragon Spawn to kind of give that little distraction.
It's going to be Herald dropping, so let's see what 100 Thieves can get out of this one because they do need to keep the gold close, it feels like. Third Dragon coming up soon. Hextech Soul, not the most snowbally. It did get nerfed several patches ago. It used to be the most OP Soul. It got nerfed, back in like 12.4 or something, or 3, and that dropped its stock quite a bit. But ultimately, TL still kind of keeping the pressure going. Bjergsen doing well in the side lane. He's down farm, sure, but he's getting stuff done, so that it's 650 gold earned for a solo turret plus first turret gold.
Bjergsen continues to have a very strong series. Just doesn't have the CS advantage this game, in part because of so much roaming, but using the teleport now to get back in mid lane, but TL doesn't have that good of a wave position, and the Herald is summoned mid, so 100 Thieves can definitely fight this Drake.
They trying to engage. FBI gets out, though. Cleanse pretty crucial there. How about the re-engage? Whippo spotted on mid, so they go for the dive, and they just one-shot Zeri. Dunk comes in, they both get out. That was going to mostly miss. Ornn going to do the same. So nothing to be grabbed except that one kill, but now it means Dragon's going in.
That is so big for 100 Thieves, though, stopping the snowball towards Soul, getting that kill onto Hansama. He just got instantly deleted there through the barrier, through Core JJ's ultimate as well. They're going to grab this Dragon here, and now that buys them so much time for the scaling to kick in, for Orianna to keep farming up, for those Ornn items to come online.
Absolutely. That was what we were just talking about. How are they going to lock down Zeri? Well,
Very easily.
That's how. Yeah, just Jarvan, Orianna, one hit him, and it, as you mentioned, it's just so massive. Not only do they stop the Dragon stacking, they keep Hansama out of the game. They get the bottom turret. They're in a great position right now.
That's really, really good. Well done. 100 Thieves turn in the corner here. Would be fun to see a reverse sweep at least to Game 5. I don't really care who wins in Game 5, but I want to see Game 5. That's the real thing.
I wasn't going to say it. I was like, reverse sweep? It's like, we're so ready to say
We're up 30 gold in Game 3. Reverse sweep on the board. See, you painted to the fans, chat. That's how it works.
Well, they've been, like, way more frequent than you think they would be.
Yeah.
Like, whether that's because we just remember the reverse sweep so often, but when momentum changes in a League of Legends series, sometimes it is very hard to change it back. So, like, if 100 Thieves is able to come back in this game, which is still an if, they're up 200 gold and down a Drake, but we think they have good scaling, and to me, they reconnected with their strengths. Rather than trying to match more of a skirmish-heavy team comp and game that TL was forcing on them, which maybe in theory would have been good because you think TL's also the front-to-back team, but this has been what worked for 100 Thieves when they won 2021 Summer and when they beat Cloud9. So if they have successfully replicated that this game, they would have a chance to do it in 2 others.
Yeah, it's absolutely a mental swing, you know, to be able to kind of get that confidence back. Interesting to see that Jarvan is also going Zhonya's. You know, Volibear Zhonya's second is very common. For J4, much less so.
Yeah.
But if you are kind of just making that one-way trip, if your job is always to get back on that carry, lock them down to set up, I think Zhonya's actually makes a lot of sense because you don't have as much flexibility when you're trying to dive in on the Zeri to play defensively.
They find the dunk. Double shockwave gonna land. It's gonna be the 2 kills picked up. No problem. Great dive. Great setup. Closer makes it happen.
That looked so much like a TL play from Game 2, right? They initiate with the Jarvan, and then someone else comes in to catch 2, and they just get a massive advantage. The Cataclysm just barely catching Hansama Zeri, quite huge there, but regardless, it was going to be a kill and an objective. So great play by 100 Thieves.
Well, nicely done. 20 gold gonna crest right now as we're 2.5 minutes away from the 4th Dragon of the game. 100 Thieves have stopped the stack. We'll see if they grab their own. Baron's now an available play, and the ornaments are coming across. As Someday's going to upgrade his Iceborne Gauntlet, and probably next up's going to be the Gale Force FBI. That'll be really nice. The stat's going to keep growing, so yeah, through that lens, I mean, 100 Thieves going to keep scaling.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see if Bwipo can get anything done here in side lane. Just wants to keep the push going. You know, a lot of it is going to be up to Bwipo and Bjergsen, I think, to kind of split 100 Thieves up, to pull them apart, to push in these side lanes, make some more respond. 100 Thieves, if they can keep finding these picks, you know, on TL, they don't need to necessarily respond to all that. They can dictate the pace of the game by finding a pick, by starting up an objective, making TL come and respond to them.
So we just knocked down the waves yet again. 100 Thieves kind of chilling. TP gonna be down for Abadaga. Someday will have his, so I'm curious if he's gonna send himself to top side to make the Baron play eventually. Of course, plenty of time until it's time to reset. Probably 40 seconds to you really consider hitting B and really playing for wards down there.
Yeah, I think Team
setting a
Liquid,
trap.
they're just looking for any type of pick they can get. And they're also just trying to make sure they can get at least one wave pushing.
Yeah.
Because if they're unable to do that, then they'll never have an opportunity to make a play. Part of the reason the 100 Thieves play mid lane worked a couple minutes ago is because they originally had side push that could then go mid. And here comes Closer. He's feeling so strong.
Sidestep by Core. Flash is down, so no way out from Shockwave and a tidal wave into FBI waving goodbye. TP for Bwipo. That one sucked. 0-3-0. Bwipo has never found a good fight this game.
I think they just started up. Yep, they're just going to do it here straight up. TL have fully lost control of this game. They don't have a lot of comeback tools because they don't have a lot of pick. They have no engage. 100 Thieves are cruising here and going to bait them in.
Look where the fight onto Bjergsen now instead. Ornn comes across. What's going to find? Sidestep, but still going to land. Now, Baron still hit, remains at 8K. They'll try for round 2.
Does have smite, so that's something to keep in mind. He spellbooked over to smite, and he has Realm Warp to try to go in for a hero play. I think you flip it. I think this game is lost if you just give Baron.
See it.
Flash and a knockup and a knockup and a shockwave. Wish is all they're gonna have. It's not gonna be enough. Re-engage for Sancho, wants to find the damage as Hansama shows up. Course here. Huhi on the way out, but trying to walk back over. Closer, pretty tanky. Double knockup, dunk and a stopwatch, and Orianna finds a double kill. Whippo now back in action. Hansama trying to stack up, but just cannot deal enough damage.
Beautiful use of the Zhonya's from Jarvan right there. That's exactly why you bring the item. And now, eventually, they're going to be able to take down the Baron after adding 3 more kills on the top.
Yeah, really nicely done here. Just turning, not gonna flip it there. Of course, it would have been an incredibly low chance. You know, Bertrand would have had to reveal with the Realm Warp and then go in and find the timing. But it's a really low percentage play. But with that, 100 Thieves fully in the driver's seat here, looking good to take game number 3. We'll see if they can close it out cleanly. But TL are running out of options. They just don't have pick off. They don't have engage. They don't have a way to choose when you fight. And despite a nice little sidestep there's no way out for CoreJJ, who had no flash.
Yeah, no flash, no Nautilus hook, no Leona extra armor and MR, right? He's just this very squishy enchanter who is positioned in front of the rest of his team. So when they don't have first move, the game becomes very, very difficult to play. And then a solid defense by 100 Thieves, not even thinking about flipping the Baron. Everyone hopping over the wall and just picking up every kill they can.
I mean, Hansama is free-firing for like 30 seconds here, but you just don't get through the front line very quickly. There's Nami heals, there's the Orianna shielding, and there's a very, very tanky front line. It's full tank Jarvan there, you know, going towards what looks like a Randuin's potentially, Frozen Heart, plus the Rhymeforged Grasp is already completed, lots more armor on top for someday. It's just going to take him way too long to get through in any realistic situation.
Yeah, he's another 2,500 gold away from getting Black Cleaver.
Yeah.
Which is what you'd want to have a chance. I mean, it would, in theory, be pretty good when they have a Lord Dominik's on Graves and a Black Cleaver on Zeri, but the game has just kind of passed them by. It's 7,000 gold deficit. They're so far behind.
Well done, 100 Thieves, bouncing back because game 1 looked tragic. Game 2 felt like they didn't have the tools to make it happen anyway, but now game 3's been looking nice, and it was close for a while, right? They had actually dipped down in gold, but they kept it going, and I mean, you know, big shout out to Someday. His landing phase has been really outstanding, honestly, all series long. And there's a team kind of keeping up with him now as they tried the siege down through the bottom lane, 24.5 into the game. Baron still on for 118, only 2,500 on the Red Bull Baron power play. They've earned a bit, about 1 tower. Now looking to get a little bit more done, though, as Hansama might find himself attacked, but as the Guardian pops, he's going to be okay.
Someday taking a bit of damage there as he tried to go in, but still just pushing in these 2 waves. They want to play between 2 waves. They don't really have someone who wants the full split push. They're just controlling vision in this area, pushing in, and now is where they're going to get the tower damage down. TL, no way to engage on this. The tower will fall. That means bot lane inhibitor is gone. They will be able to clear out that mid wave, so it may just be this. But still, the walls are kind of closing in here for TL. They need to find some sort of a play, but there's just not a lot of tools to do it. It looks like Bjergsen is going very defensive here with his build. You know, maybe going to try to run more for himself in, you know, find some sort of an aggressive play.
Yeah, maybe thinking about going stone plate. Again, definitely a team composition from Team Liquid that will be a lot better playing from ahead. A lot better, because they don't have that home run potential with it in terms of finding some miracle engage or one-shotting someone really important on 100 Thieves.
And this is something we were actually talking about with Ablaze Olive at the start of the day. You know, how much more difficult, like ease of execution is so important with compositions at the pro level. This composition that TL drafted can absolutely win. Similarly to when they played some of their double marksman things, and when you play low engage, you just have to play such a mistake-free game because you don't have the opportunity to choose the fights, to pick off your opponents if they miss position when you don't have that hard engage that they very frequently have CoreJJ playing. You know, it's all about positioning, it's all about setup, and when you fall behind, you lose access to kind of getting that setup and then finding those ways to play out the game. So TL, you know, in a really tough spot here.
Yeah, and I feel like you also lose so many other random opportunities where, like, how many times have we seen, like, oh, there was Fog and a double kill showed up, right? Closer had a nice dunk in the mid lane. CoreJJ had one last game in the same boat. Like, you just don't have, oh, here's 1,000 gold. It fell into my pockets because we had a go button. Like, That's in almost every game of League of Legends. Like, wow, now we played Soraka, means you just like lose that 1,000 gold sometimes.
And I mean, to me, it's less about the Soraka and more about the Graves, where
sure.
they fifth pick Graves. The Graves, ends up getting solo killed. Someday has actually gotten solo kills on Bwipo back-to-back games, has been playing incredibly well in the lane. But when you're playing against an Ornn, you've got to do more than hope to neutralize here. And the Graves has not gotten anything done inside, has not gotten anything done in 5v5.
Nice shockwave, big damage. People going to stay alive. The heals come through for Core JJ, but they withstand the burst. And now we move forward. It was basically a burn of cooldowns because, hey, they're going to be back in time for Dragon number 5 of the game. As they walk back, it's going to be 20 seconds off from Baron, so safe enough to grab the Drake, then play the map.
Yeah.
And we'll see when they reset.
I think we're going to have about 5 or 10 more minutes of this game where 100 Thieves has to kind of connect the dots. The third Drake for them will be up in a minute. The Baron will be up in a minute 30. They'll have to make a push with that before maybe getting the Dragon Soul. But overall, I do want to talk about like the ability to swing momentum and the experience that requires. We speculated about Reaper's stress level after game 1.
Looks very stressed.
Right?
After game 1 and 2.
And 2, actually. They're definitely having some very hard conversations. Also, how Team Liquid was on stage about 3 or 4 minutes before 100 Thieves for this third game, right? Team Liquid was in such control of this series. A lot of people would have been thinking this is a 3-0, but with the way 100 Thieves has kind of came out in this game, you look at the score now of Someday 1-0 and 6, it doesn't look like he was a difference maker, but to me, he did so much to control the overall pace of this game.
First ult comes in, flash ult out of Hansama, and here comes the re-engage. Flash the shotgun, Core JJ. They're gonna find the rest, tidal wave Lance, Core's gonna fall, and guess what? His lane mate as well. The engage looks so good. Santoros ult back to his base. Culling will maybe knock down the Freljord God. Is it gonna be enough? Nah, he's gonna walk away just barely.
I'm surprised they didn't just stay in the base. It was a tank Rise that was fending them off, but there's also a Hextech Drake that's up. There's Baron coming soon. They do not want to throw this one away.
They're not going to take any risks. They get a pick, though. Getting the flash off Hans and getting the kill, plus both flashes off Core JJ. There's no shot that they can survive in the next team fight, knowing that you have flashes available on your entire team. So 100 Thieves, playing it safe, playing it steady, gonna knock down another inhibitor here, and then likely just back off to pick up Baron, to pick up a potential soul point here as well.
Yep.
TL may actually get the Dragon because 100 Thieves decided to go mid for the inhib first, and they're gonna go out towards the Baron. So it will be a trade. So it gives a very small kind of potential out for TL at least. You're kind of praying that, hey, maybe if we can hold on, we can get soul. But I think 100 Thieves, if they play this well, should be able to close with 2 inhibitors down and Baron buff. It's looking really good.
Yeah, I actually really hate this call by 100 Thieves. Like, they're still, in 98% of cases, they're winning this game, but in the 2%, they've just created it by giving a soul win condition for Team Liquid. There's no reason they couldn't have just warded towards the Baron area, moved down towards Drake, picked up that, and then delayed another 45 seconds. But right now, they're trying to capitalize on the fact that 2 inhibs are down. They can siege the third, maybe get a cycle going that way. Just an interesting choice. It's a very confident choice, but I think a little reckless.
Well, they're gonna try not gonna find the knockup out of Someday. There's a double shot into the shockwave. That was beautiful by Closer, and it's gonna mean everything. The dunk comes in late. They find number 4, and they found their 98th percentile. Everyone's gonna be gone. Bjergsen left alone in the base. They could pad the KDAs, they can go for the turrets, they can do whatever they want. But a 30-minute victory is coming through. 100 Thieves fight back in this series. We're going to game 4. Then will we find a last kill? They go to walk up, they force the Zonias, the Nexus falls. And 100 Thieves breathe new life into the series.
That is gonna feel so good after back-to-back tough games here. 100 Thieves throw out all their prep, go blue side, draft away the Jarvan, go towards this very different style of composition from what we saw in game 1 and 2, and made it look really good. And now it's up to TL to go back to the drawing board. I think we're going to see them back with Core JJ unengaged.
Yep.
I think we're going to see the Graves no more in this series, and TL as well. Going to have to make those adjustments.
And I also want to say the way that they ended that game was pure competence, right? They didn't care that they were setting up for a possible soul by Team Liquid. They wanted the Baron because they knew that they were going to be able to win that game. So to be 0-2 down and not have that level of hesitancy from a mindset perspective, I think is very promising for 100 Thieves.
That's cool to see. I'm counting up the stats now. FBI was 12, 1, and 6. Last time we played Lucian, add 408 to that one.
Pretty good.
You know, that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
It's addition. Y'all can do it on Notepad at home or in your heads here. I'm not going to bother. It's not worth it. The number's high. It's over 20.
Yeah, and even though I think Someday was like a huge carry for them in that game, the fact that there was not a mid gap and Abadagir was a very effective Orianna is huge for 100 Thieves, that he's kind of back in it now.
Yeah, just kind of playing stock center team fighters and following up off a closer who looked really good on the Jarvan. Him actually being able to get in seemed so valuable there. So 100 Thieves finally add Team Liquid their first loss here in this matchup. So to break down how they got it done, we're heading over to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you, Freak. Raz, do you feel that?
What do you
feel
feeling?
that?
What are you
Right there?
feeling?
Like that? Feel that?
A little bit.
Feels like we got a series.
We got a series
on the hands.
Yeah,
right?
it's on the hands.
Series on our hands.
Okay.
Here we go, 100 Thieves. I know that was awful. 100 Thieves, though, put one on the board to extend the series. They
Yes.
do it from the blue side and switching things up a little bit from what we have known of these teams. And the first pick, Jarvan. Olive, the
Yep.
first pick, Jarvan for closer. Holy crap.
I'll take it. A sip of closer.
I mean, he was a monster this game. Every single engage was amazing. Mechanically not perfect, but mechanically very excellent. Getting a lot of insane plays, especially even when the game's already won.
Right.
The EQ flash into Orianna Ball, one-shotting both carries. Like, even when it's unnecessary, he's looking really good.
Yeah. Utterly disgusting performance by him. And again, so important that he put this up in that match or series point, Emily, because of the, kind of push and pull we had set up between him and Santorin.
Yeah, and I want to talk about bot lane because Olive actually called this, right? With the Lucian Nami 100 Thieves going to it. It's something we saw them play at the World Championship. It's something we saw them play previously that we brought up. And I actually did like the Soraka response, which for the people watching at home, Dash actually called off camera as draft was going through. But the Lucian Nami also, I think they piloted that so well in team fights. And I know Azael touched upon this. I actually want to talk to Olive about this since this was something you not only talked about in the green room today, but also previously when we had you on the desk. In terms of ease of execution, what do you think of these compositions?
Well, I think there are parts on both sides that are hard to execute. I'm not sure how the Soraka really affects the bot lane because it looked like the Soraka Zeri was like strong early, which is not what I would anticipate. But when you're playing like Ryze into any control mage and anything into Ornn, there's definitely that impending doom of, okay, we have to win this game because if it goes to 40 minutes, they're gonna have a lot of free stats and Ryze as the tank build is really gonna fall off. But I think Lucian Nami kind of lowers that a bit, but it really depends on compositions. And in my opinion, like the TL comp the 100 Thieves comp with Ornn and Orianna, and Lucian Nami into what TL drafted scales pretty fine. Like, it's not like you're going to eventually be useless like it could in a different game.
And that's where I think Team Liquid, you can see them just kind of talking over the draft at least, because that's going to be the direction 100 Thieves tend to go. They'll tend to go towards Ornn, Orianna, if possible, and try and scale for team fights. And I think Team Liquid could have played through side lanes, but I think if you have a Zeri, Soraka, you definitely want to be able to play through team fights, and it just wasn't really working well for them. Another touch on the draft, too, is that there are so many mid lane bans. Justife, LeBlanc, Ari. It really feels like it's going into the bag for a lot of these mid laners champion pools.
Well, let me add one more piece to the drafting conversation as we watch some of the highlights play out, and that is, back up to the top lane. We had the Graves come out from Whippo, and Emily, I know we also had the hover of the Aatrox, and there are going to be some questions about whether or not a pick like that would have helped TL a bit more in this game here specifically.
Oh yeah, I know, so we talked about the damage. Also, Olive brought up, again, off camera about how Aatrox going into, especially the Lucian Nami just does not feel good at all. Here on the screen, you see closer stats. I did want to bring up the fact that
That he's a monster?
Yeah, we talked about how good he is. In order for 100 Thieves to win, I think this is what they need. Like, yes, TL made mistakes, but closer also has to get really involved in all of these skirmishes and team fights.
See, that concerns me. When you say we need this out of closer, and it's a 4-0-13 performance that it took. I mean, again, understanding they had won this game at a certain point, and that's what some of that flair you're talking about. Olive came in. Oh, this is the play right here. Let's take a look.
He finds the angle here.
Boom. Into the Ori ulti. No chance to flash. I mean, so perfectly executed. I will say, though, in the top lane, Someday has been outperforming Whippo.
Yes.
He picked the Ornn, and Whippo had the counter pick. In the first game, he picked Aatrox. Whippo did very well on that. But this game on the Graves made it look like not a counter pick.
Yeah, second game in the, of course, it was the Tryndamere game, the loss for 100 Thieves, where Someday was actually performing quite well in that one. And then now this game, where a pretty poor fight there from Whippo when he was definitely not wanting to fight in terms of the item discrepancy. Someday is starting to run him over, at least as the series is scaling on. So I'm really interested in seeing the side selection from TL. I'm expecting red side. I know we're going to be talking about that soon enough.
Well, that's what you're expecting.
Yes.
I think that's what many people would expect. So surprise, surprise, they're actually hopping over to blue.
Oh,
Wow.
Ooh.
Which we've been talking a little bit, Olive, off camera about like the thought process in choosing, in choosing sides and like where momentum can swing in a series and how you should react as a team. Where both teams clearly favored red coming in.
Yeah.
TL has now taken that loss with 100 Thieves on blue, and they go, oh, okay. They clearly think they can't let 100 Thieves have blue again.
Yeah, and I think something you mentioned about Jarvan specifically, about like they just go on blue side to first pick Jarvan, and I was kind of like, nah, they're not going to do that. They're still going to pick red. They chose blue side, so I would not be surprised if they go into this game, and if Jarvan is left up, first pick Jarvan.
Right, but I followed that up, that same hypothetical with, okay, so now let's assume that TL picks blue. Do you first 3 ban Jarvan by 100 Thieves? Like, it feels like it's become such an integral pick, but it also feels weird to be banning Jarvan.
I mean, Jarvan excels in not only in team fights, but also just in affecting your lanes, like mid to early, right? And he doesn't fall off in the same way that you would say like a Volibear does. The super interesting thing about us going to blue side also stacks on something that Olive brought up earlier with how the mid lane bans have gone in this game as well. Because typically when red side is at its strongest, it's when you don't feel like you absolutely must ban stuff that's going to get first picked on blue that you don't feel is like counterable, right? And throughout the meta, it's kind of felt that way, but now that we're getting into individual series, it's super interesting to see blue suddenly rise significantly in priority once red side feels like there are must bans.
Yeah, I would say one thing to make note of, there are too many things right now for them to ban. I think if you're banning J4, then you're letting one of the picks that Team Liquid will want, be it Ahri, which they've already been first picking, you can do TF, but like they're comfortable, it looks like, first picking mid, or even Viego. Santorin's had a really damn good Viego during this split, so I think that's nothing concerning. I think also looking at top lane, I was wondering, okay, maybe top lane counter pick is what you want. Probably just default to going towards tanks. Like Whippo has some great tank top lane picks. If we see an Ornn again being picked a little earlier, maybe Team Liquid respond with a Scion, is what I'm expecting. So we might just see straight up team fight v team fight.
Ornn v Scion. Let's go.
Let's
NA is back.
Yeah, let's reduce our Graves Rengar player to Scion. Oh my goodness, I know he plays it all. Predictions. As we've kind of done throughout the postseason here, we've been giving people opportunities to see the light, if you will. And so we have thrown up into the telestrator everybody's
I'll be the first one
faces,
to move up.
the teams, and possible score lines. So Raz, you had originally, just for everybody at home, you had originally said 100 Thieves 3-1, correct?
Yeah, unfortunately
Obviously,
for
that's
YouTube
not
users.
possible. So that was your old prediction, 3-1 with 100. Are you sticking with 100 Thieves to begin with?
Are you gonna stick
can't.
with
Circle the team you're gonna go for.
Okay, in good conscience, I am flopping. Look, I have historically been a flip-flopper.
Get this man some flip-flops. He's wearing the wrong shoes.
Yep. I'm gonna kick these shoes off.
Kick them off.
It's gone.
Oh God!
Oh, damn.
Oh no! Okay.
All right, don't
maybe not do
the
that.
cameras over there.
Don't do that.
He definitely just broke part of the set. Absolutely murdered part of the set. Okay. All right, give me that pen. I'm nervous.
take the pen.
You holding stuff.
All right, you
up
are.
next. Go. Quick.
Right.
With speed. Circle your winner.
If you're flip-flopping, kick your heels off.
Oh no!
Ah!
Disaster.
Where is
This
the...
whole
There we
set
go.
is
You
falling
got this.
apart. Okay,
There we
and
go.
then do they end it here
My old
3-1?
prediction was 3-2 TL. And I'm actually going to stick with that.
3-2, so 100 Thieves is
Really?
going to snag this game. Olive, get over there. Go join her.
All right.
There you go.
Circle your winning team.
I'm still going with TL,
Yes.
Okay?
and I was also 3-2.
Okay.
You keeping it?
No, I'm actually not. I think it's gonna be 3-1. I think
and you
Theo-
know what? I'm right there with you all. So do the same thing for me. I was 3-2
Got
originally.
it.
I'm sticking with Team Liquid, but I think we are about to see the series end here in 3-1 fashion as they flip to the blue side.
I wish I had more faith.
I wish you had more faith too. You had to
bad
go
writing.
join us
Beautiful.
and make that graphic look a
Beautiful.
lot less interesting.
Maybe it's bad omen. Breaking part of the set for that one. I don't know.
Oh, disaster
Incredibly
here.
boring.
All right, well, if you're looking for an extra way to celebrate the LCS Finals with us in Houston, MasterCard has got you covered. MasterCard is offering priceless experience packages featuring weekend tickets, exclusive event merch, and behind-the-scenes tours of the production. That'd be pretty dope. You can come meet us. If you're a resident of the U.S., head over to priceless.com to check out those priceless experiences. Quantities are limited, though, so make sure you get in there nice and quick. The battle for a...
Close up on Raz.
Cover that up. You gotta pay extra for that.
All right, okay, there we go.
Okay, the battle for
Behind the
a
paywall.
guaranteed spot in next week's grand final continues in Game 4 right after this.
Oh,
Some OnlyFans
I wonder how they went over there.
Jay's dying.
I'm fine. I'm joining. Keep back. I'm coming back.
Finally.
Look.
Nice.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Gonna try gonna find the knockup out of someday. There's a double shot into the shockwave. That was beautiful by Closer, and it's gonna mean everything. The dunk comes in late. They find number 4, and they found their 98th percentile. Everyone's gonna be gone. Bjergsen left alone in the base. They could pad the KDAs, they can go for the turrets, they can do whatever they want. But a 30-minute victory is coming through. 100 Thieves fight back in this series. We're going to Game 4.